Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angel. I have started reading my Bible. And I started in the beginning because I have to, because I'm invested in getting to know God better. You know, I think there's so much more about him that we don't even know. And the Bible starts off Genesis, the beginning, in the beginning. I couldn't get past in the beginning because I was just wondering, what was God doing before this? Who was he? Did he have friends? Did he have feelings? I really want to get to know him in a way that I've never gotten to know any person before, because he did something for me that can't be explained. I'm this woman because of him, so why wouldn't I want to really, really, really get to know him? I want to know everything about you. And as I'm asking myself these questions, he starts talking to me. He starts talking to me about him, the beginning, before I even realized that the connection. Like, he was talking to me about the beginning, and he was just telling me, who he was, what he wanted, what he lacked, how he was not perfect, because he didn't have something that we have, and that's feelings. He did not have feelings. So when I'm reading the Bible, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and darkness. He talks about darkness. He's not talking about literal darkness, because he had always been around that and always seen that. That's why he made light. Right? So I just start to think, like, what if darkness was God's friend? What if before the beginning, they were doing and living a whole nother life? And they had been doing this long before we even know, because in the beginning implies that there was something before this moment. So I'm just thinking, like, what if God, right, him and the darkness were friends, really good friends, and they had been doing the same thing over and over again for a very long time, and God wanted more. He wanted more of this, what we have, love, feelings, and I think that they had become so close, almost like brothers, right? And God wanted more, because only God could do this. Darkness couldn't do this. So maybe, just maybe, darkness convinced God to do something about his loneliness, because he is real. We know he's real. We all these experiences, we have the Bible, so we know he's real. But he wasn't human. He wasn't real. He didn't feel things how we feel things, right? And I think he wanted to, but didn't realize the cost of feeling things. The cost of feeling things means that we are not perfect, because we feel so deeply, because we're human. I think God created us because he wanted feelings. And I was just thinking about, like, just the detail, and when he was explaining about Adam, about how he opened up the womb, or opened up the, no, he tore his rib out, and then, like, closed it up with flesh. Like, it's the details. He's trying to say something in those details. So I think about real life, and sex. And I think about, a woman opening her legs up, and a man coming in. That's a very intimate like thing. So we felt that. But what if God never felt that? What if when he opened up Adam's rib, right, it takes two people to make a baby? What if when he did this and then closed it up with flesh, darkness crept in and put his seed in too? So God could not figure out why we were not perfect, why we were not made in his image. Maybe it's because darkness crept in. And maybe we're 50% God and 50% darkness. There's something more in this story. And I just had to make this video just so I made this video, because chapter 3 of my life, I'm realizing it's about to be a very new chapter. I'm no longer telling my story. I think I'm supposed to tell his. Just because I really gotten to know him. And he's gentle, he's kind, he's loving, he's patient, he's all these things. But when they go and you read a little further, he was not always these things. He wasn't. We learned that with the flood. It's in the details. So I'm just about to get really invested in the details, because I can feel things that my God couldn't feel. He couldn't relate to us in any way because he didn't feel things. And then, it goes from the beginning to Adam and Eve, right? So the beginning, I looked it up, right? What does Genesis mean and all that? So I looked it up. Genesis means the origin or mode of formation, formation of something. Something. What if God is something? He's powerful, all that, everything that we think of. But we think of him so highly that we can't even think about the possibility of maybe the darkness tricked him first. He preyed on the fact that God didn't have feelings, that God wanted something, just based off the talks they had, and God wanted something, right? But didn't know what it was because he couldn't feel it. He knew everything, like he was so amazing like that. But as a father, he knew nothing. And he went from the beginning to being a father. He was a father that lacked feelings, a father that lacked empathy. And I think that's why he created us, because he wanted it. He just didn't know what he wanted. He didn't know exactly what he wanted it because he had never felt it before. I think darkness works like that. It convinces us that we're all these things that we're not. Tells us all these lies about ourselves. At the same time, pretending to be our friend, making it seem like we want to do this. There's something in these details, and I'm about to get really invested in knowing my Father, because the beginning, there was something before all of this. I haven't quite exactly figured out exactly what it is, but we're starting. We're starting at chapter 1, the beginning, because we have to. The beginning is the beginning of God's story. He's telling us his story, and then we go on a journey with him. We just missed it because we were so focused on the fact that he was perfect and trying to follow all these rules. What if he made all these rules and had all these expectations for Adam and Eve? And then I start to think, how old was Adam and Eve? And then I told you guys 12 keeps popping up in my mind. My brother's 12. The woman with the issue of blood, her story just sticks out to me. Me feeling like a 12-year-old girl again. And it's 12. I think Adam and Eve were 12 years old when God created them. So God had given them, right, grown woman and men responsibilities without teaching them. He told them a lot of things to do, right? He did. He told them a lot of things to do. But he never taught them. He never sat down and said that darkness is going to come up on you one day. And it's going to be like this. And this is what you have to do. I know this because I'm a mother. If I was to be a mother, right, and have no experience of being a mother, then it's like I would not know what to do at all. I wouldn't even know what to think. You know, everything that I know about being a mother, I learned from other women. Seeing it with my own eyes. Feeling it. All these things that I have that God did not have. He wanted, but he did not have. I think Adam and Eve were 12 years old. And I think that I said something about the history book. I think that God gave us to the darkness so quick before he even got the chance to get to know us. I think that there is so much more to this story than we could even imagine. Because darkness preyed on me when I had no feelings. Always wanted feelings. But I could never feel like other people did because I lacked feelings. God took my feelings away from me for a reason. And I remember the time, I remember how old I was. I was 13. I was between 12 and 13 years old when I stopped feeling everything. My whole life changed in one instant. One moment. Everything changed. I became a completely different person. And I had been that person from the time that happened until I met God. I don't know what my life is about to become. I don't know what to think. I have to figure out a new way of thinking, you know, a new way of being, because I'm no longer that same woman that I used to be, but I'm still her. She's in me, because I'm 50% him and 50% him. I'm convinced I have two fathers, a father that's light and a father that's dark. I know this from my own experiences that I've just experienced over this past yesterday. I was feeling really disconnected from the world. Just didn't know what to think, and it made me feel like I was going crazy, and it kind of scared me. So I found myself in this like really down mood, right? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just gonna go hang out with my dad. My papa, I mean. So I hang out with my papa and we're just chilling, we're talking, and then we go on a motorcycle ride. And we're just living life. I felt like a 12-year-old girl. I had my arms up, you know, just screaming. I didn't post on Snapchat. I just enjoyed the moment. But I went to my father and we talked. I got to know him a little better. But I have two fathers, essentially. I have three. Before I knew God, I had two fathers. My real father and my stepdad. But now I have three fathers. And they each have a different story. Each of them. They're not even remotely the same type of people or do the same type of thing. They're different. Raised in two different environments. Became two completely different men. Great men. But two different men. My story, I think, is somehow related to his story. Because I couldn't open this Bible because I once said, like, I feel it. And I didn't know what that meant because I tried to deny myself this power. Deny myself the feelings of feeling something. But now that God has made me like one again. I don't feel so deeply. So when I read this Bible, when I read in the beginning, I know he's not talking about the beginning of this. He's talking about the beginning of him. And he wants me to dig a little deeper. Because that's how I love my Father. It's like, I want to know everything about you. Everything. Everything. No box unchecked. You know? So this is what my life is becoming. And I am truly okay with that because God has given me something bigger than happy. Happy can't even explain the words that I feel, the feelings that I feel. My mind. He gave me my mind. First, he made me happy. And then he taught me all these lessons, taught me all these things, and taught me how to stay happy with him. It's in the details. I'm about to get to know my Father. I can't get the same messages through men that I need to get from this Bible. You know, because not everybody gets him how I do. You love him for all the things that he does and could do, but I love him just because he's him. Ain't no fakeness. It's just real genuine love. And it's just, you could be just ugly crying, just sitting there crying ugly, and he won't leave you. He won't let you go. He'll just let you cry because I think he knows why we cry. I think our Father is a big reason as to why we cry. I always ask myself, like, how could God sacrifice himself for us? Unless he threw away something before he truly got to know it, learn it, you know? A moment of silence, and we're starting now. Bye guys, until my next video.